Hey friends, funstock.co.uk is the UK and Europe's #1 retro game store. Funstock.co.uk has a special offer just for you. Use the discount code PLANET to receive 5% off any online order on funstock.co.uk. That's right, 5% off a Sega Ultimate Portable, a Super Retro Trio, or even a Neo Geo X. Use the discount code PLANET, that's PLANET, to get 5% off any order on funstock.co.uk.
Come bust a move where the games are played. It's chill, it's fresh, it's play on!
Hey, listen!
I'm Commander Shepard.
Let's do this. I think we're just getting started.
I think there's some school children down the way you can go and find.
Hello, and again.
Get over here!
Welcome, everybody, to episode 56 of the Play On podcast on planetarbitrary.com. I am your host, Pat B. of Pat's Retro Video Game Reviews on planetarbitrary.com. And joining me, as always...
Awkward silence.
Oh, I was going to sing some sort of fun song.
Go for it.
We are the three best friends that anyone could have. I mean, the best three friends that anyone could have.
This is, my name is Anthony.
Don't say anything about a divorce.
Damn
it. We're not getting divorced.
So what were you saying about that awkward silence?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel it.
I feel it.
Well, welcome, guys. Welcome back for a brand new episode of Play On.
Hey, Pat.
Lots of stuff going on.
So much stuff.
Yeah.
There's just so much stuff.
There's so
happening.
much stuff.
Much stuff.
We've got a fun show for you guys listening at home. We've got a lot of stuff that we're doing on this episode.
Oh my!
As you may have heard at the beginning of the podcast, there's a sponsor.
What? We're kind of a big deal.
We're rolling in the
We're
money.
kind of a big deal.
Yeah, funstock.co.uk has teamed up with Planet Arbitrary to offer you guys a great discount, 5% off any order on their website for any retro gaming needs. And they also have some newer gaming stuff on there as well, but they certainly have a lot of stuff for the retro gamer.
They have this pretty sweet Sonic the Hedgehog sweater that I'm thinking about getting.
Did you see the Sonic the Hedgehog socks that they had?
I'm checking it out now.
Fast feet.
Fast feet?
That's pretty much what they were, actually.
Wow. Yeah, the sweater's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So funstock.co.uk, yeah, they've got the discount code PLANET. They've also got a great little art book on there as well, a Commodore Visual Compendium, a art book of all kinds of artwork from past Commodore games. I know Commodore 64 games. I didn't see anything in there for Amiga CD32. That's where I come into the world of Commodore. But if you were a big Commodore gamer in the past, you should definitely check out the Visual Compendium book for Commodore. It's on funstock.co.uk. Pretty sweet little book they got there. Let's see. Moving on from there, we're also going to be doing a special interview. First ever on the Play On Hotline. The Play On
Hotline. I
Skype
like that.
Hotline.
Sounds sexy.
Yeah, the crew from HD Retrovision is going to be joining us. We're going to be talking to them about their component cables that they're making for the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. So we're super excited to talk to them. We're also going to be talking about all the other news going on with gaming. Of course, Ubisoft is now turned into EA. Not the good EA.
The good EA.
We're talking about the bad EA. This is post-Sims, post-Battlefield, can't play Sims offline type of EA stuff. Yeah. It's pretty crazy what's going on with them. So we'll be talking about that. We've got Call of Duty stuff I'd like to talk about. Anthony?
I got some sales data for Xbox and the PS4.
Some accurate sales data.
Accurate sales data. Some references.
Ethics in game journalism.
And then I've been playing some Ubisoft games such as Assassin's Creed Unity, so I'll share my input on that.
Nice. I've been playing some EA games actually. I purchased Command and Conquer Generals
Shut up.
with the 0 Hour expansion for the 3rd time.
Why 3 times?
Why 3? Because I always lost the disc. I'd always
love it
lose the
so
disc.
much.
I love that game. That's one of my favorite all-time games.
These socks are awesome. I'm
Are
sorry.
they pretty sweet?
Joining the
I'm
conversation.
I'm sorry. The socks are amazing. They have the bad guy. Oh my god, and Sonic's foot. Yeah, these are awesome.
Yeah,
Okay, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, so Command and Conquer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd always lose the disc all the time. And so I was in Walmart the other day looking for codes on Dorito bags. Turns out I'm not the only guy that was
I'm sure
code
it was
hunting.
because
I'm
people
sure
were
not.
listening to this podcast.
Yeah,
Like, that's a really good fucking idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that.
Well, it took me like 10 bags to find a valid code, so some jerk hit the store. But I went over to the game section just to see what was over there, what's, new games. And lo and behold, in the PC gaming section, just right there in front, Command & Conquer Ultimate Collection, 17 games, all the expansions for $20. DLC only. It was a digital download only. The disc that was in the case was a soundtrack for Command & Conquer, which whatever.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I've got a pop sitting on it back at home right now. So
It's a good coaster.
yeah, but it's great because I never have to worry about losing the disc. Now I did have to download Origins, so I had to do that.
Origin.
Yeah, Origin,
Okay. Not Dragon Age.
not Dragon Age.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to download Origin, but now it's stored on my Origin profile. So now anytime I want to play Command & Conquer, just boom.
Yeah, my Steam library is like full, and then Origin has one game. Thanks.
Yeah, but I was playing Command & Conquer, and man, it's just so good.
I love Command & Conquer games. I have a lot of fond memories of Tiberian Sun because that was me and Eric's. That was like our jam. But I was always horrible at that.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I started playing Red Alert. That was where I first started playing Command & Conquer. And I would do modem-to-modem games with a friend of mine, with my buddy from the Hardcore.
Nice.
And I thought I had that game figured out. Like, I used to make, like, whole, like, tank divisions, and I lined them up perfectly in, like, nice sections and send them off to battle all at the same time. And then I did that in my first versus match against the Hardcore, where he connected to my modem. We started playing, and I lined up all my tanks. And, you can look at each other's armies as you build them up. And he saw that I was lining everything up and making these huge columns of tanks. So then all of a sudden, he sends over a bunch of planes and just bombs all of them while they're parked.
Damn it.
And then he called me. He's like, "Why do you line up your tanks like that?" He's like, "I just
Shut up.
destroyed your whole army." I was like, "Man, this is way better when I just play by myself."
Yeah. That was Command & Conquer was the first online game I ever played, and it was at Eric's house. He had AOL dial-up, and we would play through Westwood Online.
Yep.
Other players, and that's like the first time because anytime you play a game by yourself, you're like, I'm really good at this game.
Yeah.
And then when you play online, you're like, holy crap.
I really
And
suck.
that was the first time I experienced that in my life. So
Yeah.
So speaking of your sending in codes,
Yeah.
it made me think of how my brother went to Taco Bell the other day.
Oh, yes.
My brother went
yes.
to Taco Bell the other day, and they have a contest going on right now where if you text in a certain code, you have a chance of winning a PlayStation 4 Destiny bundle, and he won it.
What
Like you
a
can't
bastard.
I just feel like that never happens.
'Cause it doesn't.
It never happens. And I guess like it wasn't the kind of thing where he was like going to Taco Bell every day and like just like texting in every code that he got. It was like, you guys feel like going to Taco Bell? Yeah, I guess. Okay. So he and his coworkers went to Taco Bell, and then he texted the code, whatever. And he said that they were flipping their shit, like just flipping their shit. And I guess I'm not really sure how it happened. They must have handed him one while he was there, or they shipped it to him or something, because he has it already. And it only happened like Monday or something.
Damn.
And so then I asked my other brother, I was like, so how is it? Is it cool? Do you like it? And he's like, I don't know. Bobby's not sharing it. He just brought it up to his room, and he's not even letting me play. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, like,
and when I was texting him about it, I'm like, that's awesome that you got the white one, because like I think those
I
white
know.
consoles looks like he's like, yeah, it's pretty cool, but to be honest, for free, I'd take a pink one.
yeah.
And all I could think of was like, Pat has a pink Dreamcast.
Pat does have a pink Dreamcast.
Hey, no shame. No
Yeah,
shame.
well, I'm really like for free. I mean, like, so and I don't know. He seems really excited about
that
it.
is fucking cool.
Yeah.
Has anybody?
Yeah.
I never thought that those actually like
No,
worked.
I thought it was just like all bullshit.
Yeah.
Totally bullshit.
What did he order? What food did he get? Did he
You
tell
know,
you
that's
that?
a good question. I gotta ask him. I don't know
The
what he
magic
ordered.
chalupas.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all I would ever order from Taco Bell
Right.
ever. It's just that. No promotion.
my
Promotion.
lucky- yeah.
I don't even care. That's all I'm ordering.
It's my lucky meal.
Man, only from that Taco Bell too. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is an amazing story because
Yeah.
I didn't think anyone could ever win those. I tried once and I ate a lot of Taco Bell, and it's not possible. But he did.
How is it possible to eat a lot of Taco Bell and not
you know,
die?
I'm not saying that I enjoyed it. I just said that I ate
It was
the
nice
Taco
going
Bell.
in, but
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. So I'll keep you guys posted. I'll ask him how it goes, but you know,
Oh man.
he's very much into sports games. So we'll see. We'll get that end of the spectrum because he'll probably invest a lot of his time and money into sports games on the PS4. So
Nice.
yeah, pretty
Nice.
exciting.
What a lucky bastard.
Yeah, classic Bobby, lucky bastard. God damn it,
Jeez.
Bobby.
Well, congratulations, Bobby.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Moving on, I guess we will talk to our friends at HD Retrovision.
Give him a little call.
Yeah, let's call them up on the Play On Skype line.
Well, we call it the hotline. It's a red phone. Looks like the bat phone.
only has one button on it and a red light.
Just calls HD Retrovision. Listeners, we have Nick and Stee on the line, and they're from a company called HD Retrovision, a company that has some pretty cool products right now out on Kickstarter. And Stee and Nick, if you guys want to just kind of give everybody your background, you know, how this whole thing came about, and then we have a couple questions we'd love to ask you guys.
Sure, I can start. This is Nick. Really, me and Steve have been friends since high school, and we're both really big into video games. Part of the reason we became friends. And for college, we both did electrical engineering in undergraduate. So we both kind of have a little bit of experience with circuits and that sort of thing. And really, I guess the whole idea behind HD Retrovision is to give people the ability to keep playing their old video game consoles many years into the future. We recognize this trend of, newer TVs coming out, technology constantly changing, and it being harder and harder to keep playing the games that we loved playing as children on the newer technology. So Steve started this whole thing as a college project, and it's just kind of evolved from there into an actual company as we realized that, this is something that people would be interested in besides just us. And Steve can add any color to that.
Yeah, I mean, this was a school project because I wanted to make something for myself, and then I realized I could make it small and cheap enough that it could be available to more people, and so I just kept working on it and eventually formed an LLC and called it HD Retrovision, and we're here now with the Kickstarter going, and hopefully we could work on some other cool stuff in the future too. Like how Nick said, our focus is making sure you can connect stuff in this new HD era where TV manufacturers can drop inputs at will, like S-Video, for example.
And that was one of the cool things when we watched the Kickstarter, because I do personally, I've had that problem where you buy a newer, HD TV and the cables that came with the systems at the time, they do not work anymore, or they just look like garbage. And you're very clear on your Kickstarter to say this isn't like turning an 8-bit system into an HD, widescreen. Like, this is just displaying the best it possibly can on modern TVs.
Right.
And we're looking at your backers, and you've been totally funded through your Kickstarter. Were you surprised by this, that it happened, or kind of what was your impression of that?
I was surprised.
Yeah, I think in our initial discussions, kind of one of the big things you have to decide on when putting up a Kickstarter is how much money you're going to ask for, because if you don't hit that number, you get zero. And initially, we were looking at numbers half of what we ended up asking for, but it really just seemed like that wouldn't be enough to do legitimate manufacturing process with. So we went for broke and said, okay, we're going to ask for 25,000. That's what we need. And hitting it in 2 weeks, I totally did not expect.
Wow.
Whoa. 2 weeks?
I didn't know it was 2 weeks.
Yeah, we still got another 2 full weeks left. We had like a few really big days at first, and that got us up pretty high, and then kind of fell off after that. But then, just all of a sudden picked back up again. We crossed 25,000 just on Friday, I think it was, overnight. I woke up and was shocked. I was like, holy cow. So yeah, it's been great.
Do you think there's been any one particular community that, are you belong to any retro game forums or anything like that? Or is this just kind of from everywhere you think it's hit?
Well, it's been kind of organic. We've taken the policy that we're not going to go on forums and advertise ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Just, let it spread as people find out about it. And that's seems to have been the right choice. A lot of forums and places like Reddit kind of look down on self-promotion.
Right.
So we didn't want to come off negatively like that.
What? No, Reddit look down on self-promotion? No.
No, that's never happened. Well, it's awesome that it was funded so quickly. And honestly, I mean, I've seen so many Kickstarters that have never met their goal. And so it's really awesome that this one has worked out for you guys so far. And so it is a cool idea. And to that tone, right now it's for a Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, correct?
Right.
And Pat here is a pretty big fan of a certain system that you have on your future products idea.
Yeah, I noticed that you guys were going to be, or looking at producing component cables for the Sega Dreamcast.
Right. There was actually an interesting story behind that. Back when this was, just like my own project, Nick used to have a TV that has video, and he hooked up his Dreamcast with S-Video, and he ended up getting a Panasonic Plasma, and the first thing he goes to hooks up is his Sega Dreamcast, and there is no S-Video back there. And so he kept bugging me, like, when are you going to make this for Dreamcast? When are you going to make this for Dreamcast? And then it was like one December, I'm like slaving over this one-off, like really crude circuit, and like it just appears in his mail like the week before Christmas. And it took a lot of work. Like there was some stuff I wasn't expecting, and like there were several Dreamcasts that output different levels, and I had to measure them all and take an average to make sure it would work reasonably well on most of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, we've heard different systems people want, and Dreamcast seems to be one of the most popular. That along with Sega Saturn as well.
Yeah, I did notice that you had Sega Saturn and possibly TurboGrafx 16.
Yeah, the thing with TurboGrafx 16 is externally we're only able to make this type of cable or external adapter for just the TurboGrafx 16 on its own, because you need to plug into the expansion port. For the Turbo Duo and the other variants, if you hook up a CD, for example, the TurboGrafx, it uses up that expansion port. So
right,
you can't do it externally. Like you would need some sort of internal modifications, and our whole goal is to avoid internal modifications. We want to make it as plug and play as possible.
And
oh, well, I was gonna say, well, I think there's definitely, I mean, people are definitely genuinely interested in these cables, because I was looking at the Kickstarter and going through the backer list, and I'd say almost half of the backers are coming in at a level where the reward is the actual cables themselves. And I thought, well, that's definitely telling of there's a huge demand and there's a market for it, and people want cables like this for their retro consoles, and not just the fact that they want them, but there's a community big enough to fund a project of this magnitude for something like this. I thought that was really, I was very proud of the retro community, where I saw when I was flipping through the backers, it wasn't just, and any backer is great, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the the $5 backer or the $10 backer. They were coming in at the point where they were actually receiving the cables themselves. And so there's people out there that want this high quality video for their retro consoles at such a it's in such a great demand that they're willing to do this with a company that is so new to it. I thought was just so awesome. I was really proud of the retro community coming together and getting behind you guys for this project.
Yeah, one of the coolest things about that actually is, our target market really is like a whole range of retro gamers. Everyone from, people who just had a Sega Genesis as a kid and grew up and it's been sitting in their closet forever to like the real enthusiast. And we kind of recognize that there are some people on the end of the enthusiast end of the spectrum that they're very purist and they want to keep using the direct RGB SCART to an upscaler and or some method like that. But we seem to have hit all of those kind of demographics. Everyone seems to be really interested in trying out this solution.
Well, and you see that, and you see like the forums and everything with retro gamers, how people just lose their shit when they find a component cable for the GameCube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually had a lot of people ask us when we're going to do that one too.
Really? Well, actually, that would be great because there would be a source to pick up a component cable that's not Goodwill or Savers or something like having to find it in the wild.
Or pay $200 for it on eBay.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's actually a while ago. I wrote like a list of like projects I would like to work on, and GameCube component cable is one of them. And electrically, it's not that complicated. There's a circuit inside the cable that is a digital analog converter. And duplicating that is not the problem. It's in my opinion, it's the mechanical engineering. It's the getting the connector sourced. It's a very proprietary connector on a digital AV port on the back of the GameCube. That I think that's the real issue. Actually, I think there was a forum post like a month or a month and a half ago of I think someone in Germany did design his own circuitry for a GameCube component cable, and he made it open source, and you could go to the forum and look at all his hardware code and stuff like that. But again, he's like, I'm posting this online so people can do it themselves, because sourcing the connector is the biggest issue in making something that's user friendly.
Yeah, and I think you guys, you nailed it on the head with it, at least starting off with Sega and or with the Genesis and Super Nintendo, because those are so common and those are so highly sought after by so many retro collectors. But what's interesting is, like Pat was saying, the community is so split of, are you a purist where you only play this console on, a CRT TV? Or, are you playing it on an HD television? And like you said, you're kind of addressing both. And so what I kind of envision eventually is that I'm sure you guys will have a cable for each of these systems, provided that you'll be able to get the correct inputs or outputs from the manufacturer. But I'm pretty sure that you guys have a pretty strong idea here. And obviously by your backers, I think you're on a good path.
Yeah, our philosophy is more of, we realize there's a lot of different solutions, and you're more than welcome to use them. We're just trying to provide our own that we believe is the most user friendly. If you want to get go the route of like a pure RGB to a lot of people use the XRGB Mini FrameMeister. I think it's like over $300. But our attitude is like, hey, if you want to use it, that's totally cool. But there's a lot of people who use it, and they come off as like, if you don't use this, you're not like a real gamer. How dare you not use this?
Right.
And our philosophy is, we don't like telling people what to do. We're very free spirited. So if you like us and like our product, you think it's cool, that's cool. If you like the other products, that's cool too. That's not our yeah.
My first question is, what grade did you get on the project, Steve?
Oh, on the project?
Yeah.
I Well, it was pretty funny because I got it working the day before it was due.
Ah.
And yeah, I got an A because it worked, I guess.
Of course.
But it was pretty fun bringing in like a LCD TV and hooking up NBA Jam and Composite and then hooking up in this thing and working. That was pretty cool. That was a while ago. This was like 2007. This project, it was very crude and rough. I mean, this type of project, like the concept isn't new. It's just the implementation we ended up with is simple. That's the whole point. Like it's simple, small, cheap, affordable. That's the goal.
And so then, what are your favorite retro games? Because you said NBA Jam, which was obviously your choice to bring in to share with your class. What would you pick up and play right now?
I was just playing Castlevania Bloodlines on our Twitch stream this morning. I had the brilliant idea of putting the code in and playing on expert. Didn't go over too well, but it was still fun. I love Castlevania games. I'm more of a Super Nintendo guy than Genesis.
There we go. There we go. That's what we like to hear.
I really like the Genesis. Actually, the whole point of that school project was, so I grew up with Super Nintendo, and then when I was old enough to have money to buy my own Genesis, I did, and I bought the Genesis. I bought the official Sega branded composite cable, and I plug it in to play Shadowrun, and I could barely read the text, and I thought my Genesis was and so that's what started that, me looking for solutions to that. But yeah, I'm more of because I grew up on Super Nintendo, I'm more of a Super Nintendo guy, and I'm a big RPG fan. Besides Castlevania and Mega Man, I mean, the RPGs I like are like Chrono Trigger and the Final Fantasies. So Nick is the opposite, but I'll let him talk now.
Yeah, I'm a Sega Genesis guy. That's what I got for Christmas when I was 5 years old. So that's kind of been my console of choice. I guess I have a really strong connection to Streets of Rage. It was the first game I ever bought. So
nice.
Excellent.
Like one of my favorite games, Kid Chameleon. I used to rent that all the time. That was a ton of fun, especially being the guy that flies around. So yeah, those two probably my favorites.
And probably Sonic, since it was bundled with the system.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sonic 1.
I was fortunate to get a Model 1 console that came with Sonic 1. Yeah, I loved playing that. I played a disgusting amount of hours of that game.
Everybody did.
Well, this is a great opportunity now that we have guys that are actual display professionals and they know Super Nintendo and they know Genesis. I have to ask you guys the $1 million question. Now, you need to look at this from a technical point of view here, not because of any extra things you can do to the game. Which version is better? Mortal Kombat on Super Nintendo or Mortal Kombat on Genesis?
Mortal Kombat 1?
Mortal Kombat 1.
Genesis, of course.
Yeah, Genesis.
Oh my god!
Sorry, Pat.
Wait, so let the engineer here explain why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, blood code.
Oh, really? The blood. But as far as accuracy or faithfully depicting the graphical quality of the arcade, the original arcade game.
No, the shade of red in the blood of the Super Nintendo was a little off.
Well, yeah, it was off in the fact that it was non-existent. It was sweat. Yeah, brown sweat.
Yeah, but I mean, didn't the Super Nintendo, the pit scene, not have spikes or anything at the bottom either?
It had spikes, but it didn't have blood. It didn't have any body parts or
Corpses.
like that. The corpses, the head that was on one of the spikes. It didn't have any of that.
Why did they even make it for Super Nintendo?
So everyone.
That's the best question.
So they could put Mario in it.
Yeah.
So are you gonna retract your Kickstarter back now, Pat? That you heard.
I might have to.
So what else is in the future for HD Retrovision? Just the products you're working on, or do you have some evil plans to, go through Amazon and take over the component cable market?
Well, our goal is to make affordable stuff for everybody. So we got some stuff on the future products page on our website, but I'll actually let Nick take over here because I'm talking too much, I think.
Oh, no, that's all right. Yeah, I mean, really, we are still open to where we're going to distribute products. We've had interest from a number of like indie game stores who would like to carry our products. I don't know if we'll go the Amazon route or not. We've had it all matters how cheap we can get the products manufactured because
Right.
depending on where that price point is, will really decide who's going to be willing to even carry it. So, but yeah, Steve can talk about the future products. He's got some really cool ideas in addition to just cables. So,
Yeah, I mean, one thing I want to, I've always wanted to work on is this, ever since I saw S-Video drop out, is a box that would take any old analog video connection and give you a HDMI port. And, they have stuff like that. But the thing that's special about this is these old video game consoles output a really goofy type of signal that's usually meant to drive CRT displays. And actually, some newer sets have problems with it. We have a lot of info on our website about this. If you go to our website and go to our blog, there's an article page on there. You should definitely read that. There's a lot of good info there. But sometimes they'd either not accept this type of signal. They call it 240p is like the lingo on the net. Or they would accept it, but like when you get like hit in Mega Man X and you flash for a few seconds when you're invincible, it wouldn't appear like you're flashing because it misprocesses the flashing as incorrectly, and it looks like you're just every other line is absent on that character. And so the goal is to make a box that'll accept any old analog input and properly process the signal based on the input. And to give you a perfect like processed 480p HDMI output, which will work on every single TV with HDMI because it's that's the minimum spec HDMI needs to support. And so that's a really cool project that I want to get my hands on soon.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That would be good for people like Pat who have 80 game consoles running through a
Yeah.
LCD TV.
That's a problem solver right there. That's awesome.
Yeah, like having a cheap processor for old game systems is cool. Something I always wanted to work on. Like I said, there's the normal route people use is a RGB cable to the XRGB Mini FrameMeister, which costs a lot of money, and we just want to provide something more affordable and available. So,
very cool. Well, so today, if somebody has a Sega Genesis or a Super Nintendo and they want to get these component cables, what should they do?
you should come to our website, hdretrovision.com. You can get to the Kickstarter from there, and like Steve pointed out, we have a blog page where we post a lot of technical stuff, a lot of just descriptions of how things are working. We're very open with what we're doing, and we encourage people to go read and ask us questions. We love answering questions. You can just submit them right through the website, and we're generally pretty fast about answering them. And so, yeah, just come to our website and check out what we got going on there.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Well, we appreciate you guys taking the time to talk about it. And again, people can go to hdretrovision.com to learn about the products in the blog. I was just reading the one about getting 60 frames per second retro gaming on YouTube, which is awesome.
That was the first blog post I did, and now YouTube supports 60 frames per second. But it was actually a really cool math problem I was working on for Steve back when we first started this whole thing. He called me up and was like, can you try to figure out a good way to do this? And I scribbled some stuff on a napkin and rushed home and called him, and it actually worked. And I was probably just as shocked as anyone else.
Yeah, reading some of your blogs and your videos, You guys are like the video game versions of Steve Jobs and Wozniak. Like one day there'll be a documentary about, because I'm looking at the frame 010101, like all these codes and everything you're writing. So
You guys really know how to make people feel stupid.
yeah.
Just kidding.
The goal is the opposite.
Yeah,
So we want everyone to understand what's going on. We don't want. I mean, we're offering, for instance, our software that we use to test for free. Right now, we have that for the Genesis posted. Eventually, we'll get Super Nintendo up there. So yeah, we want to share with the community. Don't want to keep anyone in the dark.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I got we're one of our Kickstarter rewards is one of those test cartridges we'll be using like in the factory, and we can put your name in there, so it says thank you for being a Kickstarter backer in our test suite. And we also, because we developed this, we're going to post the files for people to make their own circuit boards for Genesis, and if they ever want to make their own game, it's kind of a side agenda of mine. Some of my favorite games are Battle Kid and Battle Kid 2 for NES, which just came out a couple of years ago. And I love new games for old systems. I'm kind of like trying to push people to like, hey, if you make a game, in an emulator and stuff, you should try to put it in real hardware and get it to run on an actual cartridge. And yeah, I don't know. I like to post that stuff up. Something we made during development that is not a final product, we'll post up on our free stuff page on our website.
Well, thanks for keeping the retro gaming alive.
No, thank you guys for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, gentlemen, we will talk to you soon. And again, listeners, hdretrovision.com. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, well, that was pretty awesome.
Oh, man. Like, I feel like you know what it is that you want to do with your life when you have a project at school that you're like, yeah, this is going to be something that I'd carry with me forever. Like, what a cool, I mean, as a teacher, that's a real, I mean, I only teach 3-year-olds like how to wipe their butts, but I mean, like, that's really cool. That's really cool that he was so inspired by his project at school that he's like, yeah, I'm going to make a company for this.
Look, the education system's working.
And could you imagine like some of the guys in that classroom when he walked in with the screen and then saw him hooking up a Super Nintendo and stuff like I bet some faces like lit up a little bit. Yeah. Like some kids were just like, oh, it's fucking project day. And then like,
teachers like, quit playing video games.
He's got a Super Nintendo.
Doing this for science.
I should have picked something good. That guy should have been my partner.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, super nice guys, and yeah, on their website on hdretrovision.com, yeah, they can get real technical with that. I mean, they're not screwing around at all. This is not a,
he got an A on his electrical engineering project. I mean he's pretty smart.
Yeah, the cables are legit. They're the real deal.
Yeah.
And it's great to see a company, just a couple guys getting together and doing this, because this is now something, like you heard him say, I mean, people talking about like the FrameMeister. I too have felt peer pressure to use the FrameMeister when people talk to me and they say, how do you display your games? Mm-hmm. And I tell them I just go straight to the screen, straight to the HD screen. And I don't use anything to convert or do the scaling or anything like that. I mean, people freak out. Like, I get more peer pressure from people online to use FrameMeister than I did in high school to use drugs. Wow. Like, it's crazy. Like, it was way easier to just say yes to drugs in high school than it was to say no to FrameMeister. Like, it's crazy.
Classic internet.
Yeah, it's insane. So cables like this, I mean, it's solid gold.
Yeah.
Solid gold.
I have a drawer just filled with cables from every electronic device that I've owned that I didn't have to throw away. And sometimes it's paid off, and sometimes I'm like, why am I keeping 6 sets of S-video to, composite cables? And you never know.
You never know.
These guys are just simplifying it now.
Yeah, I've got the Rubbermaid bin in my basement. All cables.
All cables.
Yeah. And I go shopping. Know. I go cable shopping in there when I'm hooking stuff up. I'm like, oh, fuck.
I gotta have something.
Yeah,
I gotta have something in my box.
It's a great puzzle once a year when you pull out that ball of cable.
That's I'm glad that they got backed. Over now it's $28,000 that they're at, $3,000 over what they were originally asking for in their goal.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, it is awesome. So yeah, everyone be sure to check out HD Retrovision. This is the way to do it for sure, for Super Nintendo and Genesis, at least at the moment.
The thing that I liked that they said the most is that they're doing it affordably.
Yes.
I mean, like, they realized that, like, okay, just because I like video games doesn't mean that I'm a millionaire. So,
yeah. Well, and because there are, like they said, like FrameMeister, and there's other little, cable, bits of hardware and special boxes and things like that are out there. But like they said, it's like $300, and it's expensive to really get into it. And and people say, well, if you really want to be the true enthusiast, this is how you do it. And it's like, well, come on, man.
Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Come on.
Ain't nobody gonna care when you just want to play some Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah. Yeah, so pretty awesome. Let's see, moving on. Oh man, Ubisoft. Oh, jeez. Assassin's Creed Unity and Rogue was released just last week. What was that? The Tuesday?
Yeah.
It's kind of been released to mixed reviews, sort of.
So there is, speaking of reviews, so every video game, most video games have something called a review embargo, which means the publishers, journalists can't post reviews of that game until a certain point. Sometimes it's early before the game's out. Sometimes it's the midnight of the day it's out. And sometimes when it's really a bad game, they tell them to not publish it till 12 hours after the game's been released, which is what happened with Assassin's Creed Unity. What's interesting about review embargoes and people who understand the video game industry is you kind of can gauge if a game's going to be good or not, or how a publisher and developer feels about that game based on when they release their review embargo. So when people were finding out that the reviews weren't going to be posted till 12 hours after it launched, people were getting nervous. And people were like, oh, I'm cancel my pre-order, stuff like that. And I can kind of understand, because that is a little shocking from such a well-known, established franchise. You'd think that they would be like at least the midnight of the release. Or the other Ubisoft game, Far Cry 4, which comes out this Tuesday, they allowed reviews to go like a week early.
Yeah.
So it's just a weird. So to mixed reviews, they weren't even out until when the game was launched.
Now Ubisoft commented on this and said that the original intention for the 12-hour post-release embargo was so that reviewers had a chance to play the online portions of the game with those online worlds populated by the public players.
Okay.
So they could experience it full, with all the other players in the rest of the world playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's
a really good PR spin.
That was the intent, I guess.
That's a real good PR spin.
Exactly. Now that the game is out, it's full of glitches, full of microtransactions, which is shocking. It's really a real departure from the traditional Assassin's Creed games that you're used to. I mean, it's really kind of been cheapened and nickeled and dimed with. As far as I know it, there's a $99 microtransaction in the game.
Yeah.
What's that? It unlocks everything.
Gives you it's unfortunate. It's like when you play those freemium games on your phone, where to unlock things you need points, and you can either play the game a lot to get the points, or you could spend $100 and get a huge sum of points that will allow you to unlock.
So it's not even all the items. It's just a huge chunk of points.
As far as I know. I haven't looked at it because I stay the fuck away from that, but I know that the option is there. And a couple of other games have done that recently. I know one of the what's that horror game?
Dead Space?
Dead Space 3 or whatever it was, did that. It's fine. Like racing games have been doing it a lot lately too.
Oh God, yeah.
It's fine if you don't have to, if it's not like pay to win, but which I haven't experienced. I've been playing the game so far, and it does not seem at all like that. But it is frustrating when you're playing the game because you come upon a chest to open, and the first chest says you have to connect to the Ubisoft whatever the fuck it is. The second one, you have to use the app. You have to unlock it through the app.
There's been a lot of forced integration of the app.
If you want to play the game, just play the fucking game. It's like you don't force people to launch these external services just to fucking open a chest. It's just frustrating. But I'll get to that later when we talk about it. So I'm sorry. Continue.
Oh yeah, well, and so full of glitches, microtransactions. On top of that, when the game was teased at E3, the trailer that they showed was 4 separate assassins working through a crowd together.
Yeah.
Going after multiple targets, and it was really being shown as a real, multiplayer co-op type of environment in this game. Turns out that that's really only one very small part of the game. That's really not the main focus of the game.
Yeah.
And so people are they're really upset because they're being nickel and dimed, and also because the game was being shown as something that it's not, which isn't the first time that Ubisoft has been accused of this. They dealt with this with Watch Dogs.
Yeah.
Now, I love me some Watch Dogs.
Sure.
I love Watch Dogs. Don't get me wrong. Was it presented? Was it shown? Did they mislead viewers when they teased at E3? Yeah, it certainly doesn't look and play the way that it was being shown.
Right.
Certainly not a terrible game, but man, if they fucked up with Watch Dogs, they really, really fucked up with Assassin's Creed Unity.
Yeah.
And it's great because maybe Assassin's Creed Rogue might be great. Unity has definitely taken all the heat off of Rogue.
Yeah. Yeah, which everything I've read about Rogue is it's weird because it's not great reviews, but they're all like, it's the same as Black Flag, which Black Flag was great.
Yeah.
So I don't know if people are just whatever. They're just tainted on it or what.
Well, what is going on with Ubisoft? Like,
I think
what
they're
is their
too
mentality?
big for their own britches now. Because there are so many, there's Ubisoft Montreal, there's Ubisoft Kiev, there's all these different parts of Ubisoft because they're so big now. I think this is just, people are saying they're the next EA. In a way, yes, because they are so big, they're getting so big now. And they're putting out these franchises every year because they have to get money. It's like, and people were bringing up legitimate points. Yeah, Assassin's Creed was launched broken, and people are like, why wouldn't they just postpone it? They have to put it out now because of the holidays.
Yeah.
It's not like they could wait till January. They would have missed their largest sales opportunity. No excuse by any means to put out something that's broken. But it's just unfortunate because, they're a big company and they're driven by sales. And unfortunately, they had to put something out which clearly was not ready to be launched.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It really is. And, and even to have such heavy integration with the mobile app, the companion app, and the microtransactions, which on a certain level, the companion apps can be fun as long as they can be just companions and you can just kind of play along with them. They're not something that if you don't consult the companion app, you will not make it past this certain section, or you will not have access to this portion of the game, or you'll miss out on content if you don't use the companion app. Or the microtransaction. Those things kind of seem like the ultimate mark of evil in a video game. Like, I can't picture a developer at Ubisoft being like, it'd be a great idea. We should just have an option in there where they could pay $99 and get a big chunk of points, or they could pay real money.
Fuck it, just put money in there.
Yeah, real money for a few extra minutes of this. Like I heard it's you can buy to get brief moments of power ups with certain abilities, which just seems super totally pointless because that's gonna force people first to just try and play the game without buying any of that shit. And not only that, if they want to experience that, you're nickel and diming them because then they're like, well, I'll just try a little bit to see really how much of a difference it makes. But you know what? Then you're out that, $1, $2, $3, whatever you're going to pay for that small chunk of boost.
Yeah.
But that's just still nickel and diming people because on top of that, all the DLC that you pay for with a game, games are $100 now.
Yeah.
When you buy the game, you buy the DLC.
You're gambling up front because it could have been, if I spent $100, I'd be pissed.
Yeah. I spent
today.
Yeah. I spent $100 on Destiny. If I would have known the amount of time that I'd have to sink in to Destiny to rank up and to experience all the content in just the base game, if I would have known that, I would have been like, you're out of your mind.
Yeah,
do not buy the season pass. You are insane if you do this. I'm going to play it as much as I can and, play the stuff that I paid for.
You got other stuff you could be playing.
Yeah, but holy shit. Destiny is chock full of content. There's so much to fucking do. And there's 4 other DLC packs, 3 DLC packs coming out for it. Holy shit.
So I don't think Ubisoft did this intentionally. I don't think they're a bad company by any means. I don't think they want to put out broken products because they've made games that people have really loved.
Yeah,
but it's not an excuse for putting out a broken product. And there are a lot of apologists, and there are people like me who will think I can understand why they did this, but I'm not excusing it. I'm not saying when somebody pays $60 for something that it shouldn't work, as described, or even a perceived value. Even console players, to not have, there's this war about 60 frames versus 30 frames per second. And when you have a game that can't even hit 30 frames per second, it's embarrassing, It's like, why are you putting this product out? But
Yeah, I think there was a serious lapse in judgment there. Someone at Ubisoft seems to be very out of touch with the gaming community at large. Nobody, when they throw down that kind of cash on a game, wants to get in the game and be like, "Do you want to spend some more money?"
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a bad move, and I think even just the word microtransaction is just associated with bad right now. I mean, sure, if there's a cool way to incorporate that kind of stuff and it really gives you something unique that you're not going to get in the base game and it makes it worth the player's while, then sure. But I mean, that's still that would be a phenomenal leap in the world of microtransactions that you would then see in every game. But at this time, I mean, and to do it in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. Now, would you like to hear why I think it's the best Assassin's Creed yet?
Yes.
Wow.
I would.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whoa. Twist. I got it for PC because I'm a PC gamer now. And I've spent some time and money making my PC gaming capable of playing current games on the highest settings. So I want to experience that. And because of the whole Steam in-home streaming, I can play the fucking games anywhere, in bed, in the living room, anywhere.
You are a master of technology in the studio here. It is amazing.
I wish I could go back and hear myself a year ago. Like, just Anthony, you just can't wait until a year from now. You're a whole new person.
Yeah. So I was watching King Kong on my HD DVD player attached to my Xbox 360.
So the reason I think this Assassin's Creed, it doesn't play super well, and I know that they're going to optimize it, but I can play it cleanly at 30 frames per second, which is pathetic considering the specs that I have. But it plays cleanly, and I haven't experienced any of the bugs that people have posted. But everything that I've hated about Assassin's Creed games do not appear to be in this game. Like, the biggest gripe I've always had with Assassin's Creed games is this weird fucking storytelling mechanic where it's present day or in the future, and you're like in this device experiencing the assassin, right? And then every once in a while, right when you get into the story of Assassin's Creed, they like rip you out of it, and you're like walking around an office. Like, somebody was like, you play Assassin's Creed, and then you have like a fucking office simulator for no reason. And I've always hated that because like I get so into the story of Assassins, and then that happens. That does not happen in this game. You're never not in control of the assassin. You don't have to like walk around a fucking office and sit in the Animus and all this. So, like, right off the bat, just boom, you're right into the story, which is awesome. It's beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful games. Like, and this is probably why they're having so many problems to get it to run cleanly on the consoles. It looks stunning. Like, they built Paris to scale, and it is fucking beautiful. It's filled with thousands of people. So they talked about in the old systems, they could get like 300 characters on screen, and there's like 3,000 characters on screen. You're walking through crowds, and it's just unreal. Like, when you're running through the streets, I never even want to go on the rooftops. I just want to be in the streets because so much happens in the streets, and there's so, like, the detail and the lighting. It's unbelievable. It's beautiful. The animations, the character models, they all look great. All the weird mini like side quests that they had before that were very repetitive are sort of there, but they're more organic. Like, now, instead of you having to go to a specific spot to break up a fight, you could just be walking through the street, and a mugger will mug a woman and run off, and then you have to like chase that person. And this just happens normally, and it happens frequently enough that you could just say, you know what, I just feel like doing these little side things, and you just walk around the streets. You don't have to go to like a specific spot. Or you will come upon somebody who will be like, I need you to help, protect me as I go to this one location. So, like, all these problems I've had with Assassin's Creed have all been fixed. If they could get it running, and unfortunately, if it would have been like this from the launch, I think this would have been a highly reviewed Assassin's Creed. And if you can look past the fact that, yeah, it launched shitty and that they're going to patch it to be better, like, I have faith that they will, this is going to be the best Assassin's Creed, I think. And I think people need to just give it a chance. Maybe not right now. Maybe wait a month or so.
You think it'll rise from the ashes?
I hope so, because it really does address those common concerns or those common complaints. The movement, I've always had problems with. Like, I refer to it as fucking Velcro. Like, you run through a city and then, here's a box that you just ran into. Gone. You can like side parkour and drop down level like easier, and Like, they address so many great things, and unfortunately, it's all being shadowed by the botched launch.
There's no like floating pages that you have to chase down for like
pages.
2 fucking hours.
Yeah, there's no tail missions. You gotta fucking like stay in the circle of the area to tail somebody. Like so many things they fixed, and if you can give the game a chance, if you love Assassin's Creed, give it a chance. Wait a little bit for them to patch it and make sure that they patch it, but don't think that it's a bad game by any means. I have not played the multiplayer, but I really wouldn't anyway. But there are specific missions that you can play as multiplayer. So, yes, in that way, I think it was misrepresented. But as a single-player game, fucking great.
Now, in the moment of truth,
Yeah.
how many arbitraries?
I'm going to give it 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5?
Yeah, it's really an impressive game. I mean, and again, I'm playing it completely fine, not at the 60 frames per second that it should be.
Right.
I'm sure it will get there. But for as beautiful it is and as all the things they've changed, it's got a really cool story. It deserves a good score, and I'm going to stick by 4 out of 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
You may have changed my mind on this.
Wow.
That's
what I'm here for,
He's
people.
very persuasive.
Yeah, it seems to be.
I know my stuff about video games.
Yeah. Wow.
He's a PC gamer now.
Yeah.
I replaced all the electric sockets in this house. No big deal.
Yeah.
I drive a Dodge Stratus.
Yeah, you said that you were going to replace all the electric sockets, all the light switches. It was all the light switches,
And I
and he's
electrocuted
like,
myself once.
no, that was not the story I was going to tell, but it was like, you're like, this is only going to take like 10 or 15 minutes, and it took like 4 hours.
Yeah, it took a long time.
Hey,
Yeah.
with electricity, it's not about how fast you get it done. It's about doing it right.
and it's fine. It's just that we were about to like do something
Annie
or watch
hates,
something.
Yeah, Annie hates starting projects late in the day.
I'm not
And it
a
was one of
night
those.
person, so it was probably like already dark outside, and he's like, this is probably just going to take a little bit of time. And then it was like 11 o'clock. I'm like, oh my gosh, are you still doing this?
It's also because we had moved into the house and we had to map out where all the fuse switches went to what area.
So
of the
it would have been fine, but
Oh.
he
It was
needed my
kinda, like,
help, and I
awkward.
just didn't feel like helping.
But
Yeah.
we got it done. Look at
And
these
they're
sweet
great.
switches now.
So great.
Yeah. You should. I've done some stuff like that at my work.
Yeah.
And we ripped out a piece of equipment that we had there.
Mhm.
Had a big circuit breaker and everything like that. The piece of equipment got ripped out. Everything was removed, except for this one dangling electrical cable that had been cut, but it was just dangling, hanging out the piece of some conduit. And my boss was like, hey, we need to snip that out of there really quick. And I'm like, okay. I was
Jesus.
like, the power's off, right? It's like, there's no power going on that line. He's like,
boy.
no, it's totally off. He's like, you can just cut that. He's like, here. And he handed me a pair of bolt cutters to just snip this line.
Really?
Yeah. We
With
just
rubber
had,
handles?
we had them there. Yeah, with the plastic
Okay,
handles. Not that it mattered because
No.
it wasn't in my hand very long.
Yeah.
I went and I'm like, oh, I'll just snip this. And as soon as I clamped down on the line, it blew the bolt cutters out of my hands.
God.
Right out of my hands. Left a big burn mark on the wall.
Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
Jesus, I thought you said it was fucking off. It's like, well, I thought it was.
Oh my
Should have
God.
been.
God.
Could have started a fire.
Well, what's messed up is he went to the panel. I was like, I don't know. It's off. I guess this isn't the switch for that then.
Maybe we should figure that out.
Oh, it was messed. So I don't do any of the electrical work really at all at my job anymore
Sucks.
because of those things.
Yeah, that's a
So,
little dangerous, especially because you work with water.
Yeah, is that off? Yeah, it should be off. Boom! It just
It's
explodes.
like the episode of Friends where they don't know where the light switch goes, and Phoebe's
yeah.
in the other room, like blinking the TV on and off. Friends jokes.
Yeah.
Friend, did you see my?
I saw
yeah,
I saw your post earlier
yeah.
today. Watching Ross drunk is
It's
like
painful.
painful. It's
It's-
so awkward. So which one were you watching?
This is for a Play On podcast for
Mm-hmm.
video game chatter. Now
Yeah.
we're going to discuss Friends.
Just real quick.
Yeah, real quick.
Real
It was
quick.
the one where Rachel and Joey started dating, where they kiss after their trip to
Oh, yeah,
Barbados.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Spoiler alert if you've
And
not
yeah,
Spoiler alert.
and then Ross, freaks out because he's obsessed
I'm
with Rachel.
fine.
Yeah, I'm
fine.
fine.
Yeah, and he touches the pan with his hands.
Yeah, with his bare hands.
With his bare hands.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that was
with
awful.
Aisha Taylor.
That
I
was
think
an-
that
Ross.
was.
It was an agonizing episode.
Yeah, it's very painful to watch.
Yeah, and her name's Charlie.
Yep,
I don't
exactly.
like her.
Yeah,
That bitch.
nor do I. Let's see. Moving on, I've got Call of Duty stuff that I'd like to share with you guys. Speaking of our friends, funstock.co.uk, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare sales in the UK beat the numbers of Destiny, Titanfall, and Wolfenstein combined.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes, combined. Now, those 3
Not
games,
surprising.
yeah, I mean those 3 games, they're big games. But when I read that too, I was like, you're talking Call of Duty here. That's big. Those are big numbers, huge numbers. So I wasn't too surprised when I read that. But the one thing it's come out recently about Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is that there's a lot of backlash to the game, and no surprise, it's coming from the people playing the multiplayer, saying that now this is the old. I'll dust off this old chestnut here for Call of Duty is I will shoot someone 10 times and they shoot me once and I die. People are complaining about the hit detection in the game, which I have not experienced. I'm actually doing quite well in the game.
Good. Maybe
Have
I got a
you
good
played
internet
the
connection.
multiplayer yet?
No. James actually took, after I beat the campaign, James has it, and he was like, I don't want to play Call of Duty. I'm like, just play it. He loves it.
Yeah, see, it's a good game. It really, just like Assassin's Creed Unity, if you just give it a chance.
Yeah, they fixed a lot of things. It's a really fun game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like with Call of, I mean, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, I've had a few awkward deaths where, yeah, I totally shot a guy 10 times and then he shot me once and I died. But I don't really think that's how it happened exactly. It just, he got some shots on me and it took me down. But then people are also saying there's a lot of glitching, a lot of lag, which I haven't experienced at all. It's just, I think it's a new game. There's a whole new way of movement, a whole new concept of movement in this game. And people they're getting used to it. And some people, the traditional Call of Duty players are, maybe not having an easy time transitioning to this game and not playing as well. And they're not being able to do the things that they normally do in Call of Duty games.
Plus, it's the largest multiplayer game for consoles. So you got to imagine there's so many people in so many areas of the world playing this game that internet connections and all these things that you don't normally hear about in games is really going to play a role into a multiplayer match like that.
Yeah, or there's just good players.
Or there's just good people.
Yeah, there's just good players too. So, but as far as the technical problems, I just haven't had that that has not been my experience with the game at all. And so it's been interesting to kind of on this, watch this from the sidelines and see this progress, this whole thing of, oh, the hit detection is terrible. And, the dedicated servers, they said there'd be dedicated servers and there's no dedicated servers, which is true. That will be coming soon. The game is running on existing server farms kind of scattered throughout to kind of handle the initial launch of Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, but dedicated servers are something they're going to be using.
Sweet.
But I still, even with the existing servers they're using, I haven't had a problem with it. So, I don't know. It could just, if you read, like on Facebook, if you follow Call of Duty on Facebook, if you read through those comments, I mean, it's just thousands of worst Call of Duty ever. Fuck this game.
Like
blah, blah,
every
blah.
year.
Yeah, exactly. But it's really good. It's a great game. So, I mean, even the hardcore, one of his sons is, I think, 10 years old, just posted a 30 and 14 match in Team Deathmatch.
I think
10-year-old kids.
Sales will speak loud. I mean, there's a lot of people who complain about everything related to video games. There was some post on Reddit where somebody was like, I feel like gamers like to complain more than they like to game. But it's really just the vocal minority, because I'm sure Call of Duty will sell like hotcakes, and probably so will Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
And people always say speak with your wallet, and probably the vast majority of people aren't going to have any fucking clue, about what the problems are. They're going to get it for Christmas, they're going to play it, they're going to enjoy it, and Ubisoft will get their money and they'll win.
Yeah.
So whether that's right or wrong,
I believe it was Nintendo actually just said that very thing, that players have spoken with their wallets, with their money by purchasing online content. So
exactly, it wouldn't be in the game if people didn't use it. They wouldn't have $100 microtransaction if somebody didn't, like if enough people didn't use it.
Yeah.
To outweigh the potential backlash of not having it. So.
Yep, it's been interesting to watch this whole thing bloom, because I didn't think it would be this intense so soon.
Yeah, I did. Call of Duty. There's like always so much it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Controversy.
Let's see. What do we got for time there? What do we
5 minutes.
have 5 minutes? Is it anything else you
just
wanna
real quick, this is approaching the 1 year, if not past the 1 year anniversary of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4.
Oh, yep. Happy birthday to the current gen.
So these are not sold numbers, these are shipped. So shipped into stores and stuff. Sony has shipped 13.5 million PlayStation 4s. Xbox One has shipped 10 million. I feel like probably more PlayStation 4s have been sold, but they both have shipped a ton of consoles, like more than any other generation. So people who are saying console gaming is dying is full of shit, because it's not. Whether it's a PlayStation or an Xbox thing is different. But Xbox dropped the price of the Xbox One by $50 starting in October. Since then, the sales have tripled. What that's tripled from, they didn't really post, or maybe I didn't find it. But the good news is the price cut is working.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully through the holiday season that will help Xbox, but it's not so far behind that the Xbox is doomed.
Mm-hmm.
I think they both have a very long life ahead of them, and a year from now, could be a totally different story. So, just interesting.
Absolutely. Just this holiday season, I think, will be really telling of where these consoles, both these consoles are at. I mean, those are both huge install bases. Mm-hmm. I mean, 10 and 13 million units are out there.
Yeah.
Whether they're, still sitting on, some of them are, I guess, are obviously still sitting on retail shelves, but there's definitely a lot of them sitting in someone's house. That's a lot of players. And I think these systems are really starting to settle in now. They've gotten through their issues at launch and all the jittery stuff that happens with launch, the problems with hardware, the problems with no games. Yeah. Now there's games out, and the focus isn't on these consoles anymore. It's on the games, the issues with the games.
Which is good.
Yeah. It's shifted where that's the defense now. It's not, we need games. This console sucks. Right. It's like, what the fuck, Assassin's Creed, or what the fuck, Call of Duty, right. or this game's awesome and that game's awesome. It's nice because then the transition has happened. People have accepted the current gen systems. They're playing on them. They're over any issues with those consoles, and they're playing the games. They're at a point where they can analyze those games and look at them closely and say, are these worthy of being current gen?
Right.
So I think they're doing well.
We did it, guys.
We did.
We did it.
Good job.
Good job, Plan.
Yeah. So there we go. Episode 56 is in the can there. Be sure to check out planetarbitrary.com for all your Planet Arbitrary needs. Be sure to check out Game Classy with Joe and Steve, our sister podcast, anything tabletop gaming, Dungeons & Dragons, Warcraft, any of that stuff.
Why do you call it our sister podcast?
I don't know.
Because we're more manly.
Why aren't you guys brothers?
I don't know where sister
aren't you
podcast.
both
No,
boys?
I think it was Joe started sister podcast. Joe said it. They started it.
No homo.
Sisters.
So yeah, be sure to listen to Game Classy. Be sure to check out all the podcasts on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it if you went on there and rate, comment, and subscribe on all the podcasts. That'd be awesome. Stitcher Radio, you can check us out on Stitcher. Podomatic, we're on podomatic.com. If you could check out the Flipboard, the Play On Podcast, digital magazine on Flipboard. All the stuff we talk about on the podcast is on our Flipboard, along with other interesting news bits that we just find interesting. We'll throw them on the Flipboard so you can check that out. And on planetarbitrary.com, if you go to the Connect section, you can find everything, all the Twitters, the Facebooks, to get in touch with Planet Arbitrary, with Play On, with Game Classy, and any of the other podcasts. I will say this, there's exciting news announcements. There are some new podcasts coming to planetarbitrary.com, so be sure to keep an eye out for that.
What I'm going to say is if you like My Little Ponies, get ready.
Yeah, My Little Bronies.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so there are some new podcasts coming, so be sure to check back.
My Little Bronies.
Yeah, not My Little Bronies.
Just disappointed a whole bunch of people.
Yeah. Be sure to check out funstock.co.uk and use that discount code. Again, it's Planet, Planet, to get 5% off any online order. Our friends at Reddit are game collecting, and our friends at gamecollecting.net. The Secret Santa registration is open right now. I have registered, so maybe you'll get paired up with me. And then also their New Year's raffle is going on right now. Some great prizes. The Google Nexus One player is on there. That's one of the prizes. So be sure to check that out on gamecollecting.net. They've also got some great shirts on there that they're going to be selling. So check those out as well. And our special thanks to our friends at HD Retrovision for joining us on the show today. Yeah. That was a lot of fun talking to those guys. And be sure to back their Kickstarter. It's active for another 14 days. So if you want to throw some gravy on that.
There's some pretty sweet bundle, or what do you call them?
Backer rewards?
Backer rewards, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a ton of stuff that you can get. So be sure to throw a couple bucks behind those guys. And is there any, I always miss something. I know I do.
That's it.
Is
you
that
did it.
Did I do it?
You fucking did it.
All right. All right, guys. Until next time.
Play on.
Play on.
Play on.